Today, once again, we are learning about forces and movement. And one of the main topics is going to be about Earth and the Sun, because that was one of the most popular things that we wanted to learn about. And we'll see exactly why. So let's go right here. And we'll see why we're going to talk about Earth. Because Nada, Nice, Jinjin, Ori, Punpun, Maria, Polis, Enri, Tongkla, Kautu, Otto, and Nawin said, I want to know more about the movement of Earth. We're also going to learn a bit about cars today, because Dragon, Army, Mark, Focus, Turbine, Kun, Preem, Ryu, Win, Arpo, and Win. Oh, I said Win 2 times, because Win is double awesome. Cars. So we're learning about cars, and finally we're going to learn about things falling in air or gravity, because Titan, Ellie, Mining, Tuntun, and Fasai wanted to learn more about gravity. So from here we have Earth, cars, gravity, bullet trains, and I figured because Opum, Gam, and Prom wanted to learn something about bullet trains, Aka wanted to learn about Newton, your classmate, or the force Newton? I'm not sure. I mean, you can ask Newton when you see him. And finally, Almond wanted to learn about forces. Or maybe the force, I'm not sure. But because they aren't popular like these three, we're going to learn these today. About movement of the Earth, cars, and gravity. So let's begin with the Earth. And let's go over here, follow the line. And it's so far away. All right, here we go. Ooh, it's big. Here is the Earth. And the Earth has this thing, the moon, that travels around it. So, we have forces that act on the moon. The moon actually is being pulled by the Earth, while the moon is traveling around the Earth. It is always being pulled because the Earth is bigger. So when something is bigger, it will have a gravity. So I'll make this a little bit bigger for you to see. So even though the moon is big, because the Earth is bigger, the moon will be traveling around the Earth. But what about the Earth? The Earth also travels around something. And the moon is also being pulled away from the Earth by something even bigger. And that is the sun. The sun is so big that the Earth will travel around the sun. And at the same time, the moon is traveling around the Earth. And because the sun is so big, the moon is actually, every year, the moon moves a little bit more and more away from the Earth. But over the course of a long time, it can change how long a day is. Okay. Now, this is a force called gravity. These forces. This one. Oops, let's see. So this force over here So these two things are actually forces. This is one force. These are both forces. And these forces are called gravity. Or another word for it is gravitational pull. So remember when we learned pull is a force? Now we're learning about gravitational pull. Gravitational pull is when a big object like this is pulling other objects towards it. And Earth has its own gravity on the surface. The Sun also has a gravitational pull up to the Moon as well. But let's talk about the gravitational pull on Earth. And this happens for two reasons. One, because Earth is big. And two, because Earth is actually spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning really fast. So while the Earth is spinning around the Sun like this, the Earth is also spinning. Wait, let's. All right. The Earth is also spinning itself. So it's spinning and spinning around the Sun. And because the Earth is spinning so fast, everything on the Earth is sticking down on the Earth. So there's always a force called gravity on the Earth, and that's why things are falling. But let's take a closer look at it. So now we're learning about gravity. We'll start right here. So Earth's gravity is a force where everything is being pulled to Earth. And the gravity is different over here and on the surface. On the surface, where we are, the gravity is about 9.81 meters per second squared. That means for every kilogram of mass, there is this much force. So what does that mean? Let's take a look. If we have a ball and we drop it, the ball is going to have a force of 9.81 meters per second on it, squared on it. That means when we drop the ball, it will drop faster and faster as it gets to the surface of the Earth. So after 1 second, it will only travel 4.9 meters. But after 2 seconds, in just one more second, the ball will travel a lot further. From 4.9, that's almost 15 meters in the second. So if we are counting 1 second, it's 4.9 meters. In 2 seconds, we have 15 more meters. In the third second, it's already traveling another 44.13 meters. And in 4 seconds, it's traveling another 78.43 meters. So this is showing us that the ball is getting faster and faster the further it is. Now, this is always on us, this gravity, this force. So if we're standing still, this force is always on top of us. And it weighs for each kilogram. So for example, if you are 21 kilograms, it is on each one of those kilograms that you weigh. So that's what keeps us on the ground. If we don't have this gravity, we'll just fly around like we're in space. And that's why things fall, because of this force. Well, let's take a look at how cars work too. So now we have a picture of a car, and these are the different forces. Let's start with weight, because that was what we just talked about. Weight is mass and gravity. So the mass of the car and the gravity is the weight. That's how we can find out how much the car is weighing. Now, this over here is the engine. That is what makes a car move forward. The engine uses gasoline and energy to force the car to move forward. But what about the other forces on the car? One of the very important ones is this one. This is wind. There's wind blowing on the car and making it stop. If we take a look at this block, if there is a square moving, the wind will block itself and come back. But if we have a car, it's more aerodynamic and the wind passes over the top. So there is less force. There's less wind force. And that makes it easier for the car to go forward. What other forces do we have? Let's take a look. There is the red force here. These are the tires, and this one is called friction. So we learned a little bit about friction, but how does it work? Well, the friction force causes the brakes to stop the tires from spinning. So actually, it's not the tire on the road, it's these guys. These are called the brakes. And how that works is you step on the brake pedal and it actually stops the wheels by squeezing these around the tires. So this actually stops the tire from moving. So this is a friction that stops the tire. and then the road does the rest of the work. Because the wheel is stopping, this force of the tire, of the road pushing the tire, becomes much bigger. And the force of the tire pushing on the road becomes even smaller. And that's how we stop, because the friction actually increases when the tire stops rolling. So these two important forces stop the car from moving. So the engine makes the car move forward. The wind wants to stop the car. The friction wants to stop the car. And even the gravity makes the car stop a little bit because of the weight. The only thing that makes the car move forward is the engine. All right, I hope that was interesting enough if you understand. So to test to see if you understand anything from the video from today, we will have another quizzes. And I will ask you a few questions about the Earth, cars, and gravity. All right, I'll see you next time. Good job, guys. Bye-bye.